Shadowlands have brought a lot of new lore elements and interesting complications to the Warcraft universe, but one of my personal favorites has to be brokers. On first glance, they resemble well-known and established ethereals who debuted back in the Burning Crusade. But though there are some similarities, I believe this familiarity is here to lull us into a false sense of security. Because, in the words of Samdi,
them brokers be up to something. You best be keeping an eye on them.
Hello everyone, I'm Haverok, and after many failed attempts of finally making a solo video, I've decided to give it a go and make one related to the Warcraft universe, as WoW is a game that has taken, let's say, a good chunk of my life, and Shadowlands has left us with a lot of ground to speculate, and I be damned. That's exactly what I do, the best or the worst. So let's start with the basics. Who are the brokers, or who are we told they are? Well, according to the official Blizzard preview of Oribos, which has been shown back in the alpha stages of the expansion, native to an unnamed realm of the Shadowlands, brokers possess an innate affinity for locating anima, even in the midst of the current drought. They appear eager to assist the mortals arriving in Oribos, offering their expertise in acquiring raw materials and crafting them into useful goods. Savvy and adaptable, the brokers keep their true intentions to themselves. One thing is clear: they can provide a wide variety of exotic merchandise and valuable services, if the price is right. I like to question whether they are really from the Shadowlands, but not only this short description states this outright, but it's one of the weekly quests that we're gonna discuss in a greater detail later. Talon the Antiquary refers to the Shadowlands as our world, so I guess this seals it. Though if they are transformed mortal souls, or are just constructs of the realm itself, remains a mystery. We also know that, in a similar way to the ethereals, they form into cartels. Not only that, but they also seem to believe that their understanding of our word, family, is the closest we get to the broker word cartel. In other words, broker cartels are more than ethereal or goblin organizations, being more or less their family units, while still retaining some of the more mortal traits of such organizations. So, what does the word cartel exactly mean? I'm pretty sure most of you may have some understanding of it, connecting it to a shady trading organization, but out of curiosity, let's check the actual meaning behind the word, to check how well the Warcraft, and especially the broker, use of the word is applicable to our own world. Well, the definition from the Cambridge Dictionary is as follows. Cartel is a group of similar independent companies who join together to control prices and limit competition. And oh boy, do brokers control most of the trade in Shadowlands. What's even more interesting is that the most of the cartels we see in the game are pretty consistently responsible for certain trade-related activities. I've checked probably most of the named brokers that we can meet in the game, and it is clear that their association with certain cartels is not random, and it's quite easy to track, because their cartel is like a family name. So far, we have met 7 cartels, and I want to get over them all with you guys. First, we have Cartel Ow, and these guys are the ones you might be interacting the most, save from Venari of course, as they are in charge of all things that we relate to crafting, selling materials, teaching you new recipes, and as such are mostly considered to be utility NPCs. However, there is one notable member called Researcher Audaluk, who teaches us about the fact that the denizens of Shadowlands do not know about archaeology. This is of course a bit silly explanation, since a lot of the brokers do what is basically archaeology, but it's nice to see the lack of this particular secondary profession at least being addressed in the lore. Even if it's pretty silly. Cartel Ow is mostly located in Oribos, but there are 2 shady exceptions and both can be found in Maldraxxus. Aulerinar, I'm sure I've butchered this name, I'm sorry, seller of the enhancers next to the Theater of Pain, which as we know can have various negative effects. And of course there's Aunarim, who deals with bats and provides the arena with otherworldly threats. If you are a necrolord like me, you can sometimes see that one of your abominations, Atticus, deals with him, and you can help them get a devourer specimen, presumably for the fights. Aunarim is also pretty manipulative, even for a broker, outright forcing his colleagues into losing bets against you by pretending that he also doesn't believe in your chances. Once again, the repeatable quests seem to tell us a lot about the brokers, and I don't think this is a coincidence. Next we have Cartel Ba, and it's pretty interesting from our perspective, as they seem to be pretty involved and influential. They seem to be running Broker's Den, which serves not only as the player's inn in Oribos, but also does serve as a role of a central broker meeting place. There are some pretty notable brokers belonging to this cartel. There is emissary Basilk, who seems to negotiate on the behalf of his race with the attendants, as he constantly clashes with caretaker Karvosh about the needs of the brokers staying in Oribos, sometimes to hilarious results. We also have Opulence Bahar, or Bahare, who seems to be running Broker's Den and is either a leader or a high-ranking member of Cartel Ba. He provides pretty important perspective on the brokers, but I let the man himself do the talking.
Welcome. What do you seek from the brokers? We are ever at your service.
Are you in charge here?
In charge? No. I wouldn't say that I'm in charge exactly. I am but one of many. But you could say that my voice carries a certain weight. Influence is often more meaningful than power, don't you think? So let's settle on influential. I am influential.
So, what exactly do you influence?
Well, it is safe to say that I influence my own cartel. I am one of the elders of the Ba cartel. We value the accumulation of information and knowledge. The application of such knowledge has the side effect of allowing us to accumulate influence and wealth. We brokers value success, and we are not afraid to display the results of our endeavors. Hence, the title my peers honor me with. So, I influence my beloved cartel in order that they may share my success. I seek only to ensure that we continue to prosper.
He is accompanied by various brokers from Cartels Ba and Ta, but we can overhear some very interesting conversations between himself and emissary Basolo.
This is an interesting time, Basolo. We should strive to find the cause of this chaos. Such knowledge may prove useful.
Opulence? Do you mean the location of the sepulchre?
Silence! Do not speak of the grand design!
1,000 pardons, Opulence. Please forgive my enthusiasm. This conversation might sound familiar to us for a couple of reasons, as it's pretty obvious that Basolo was about to tell Sepulchre. And we have two pretty serious leads. The first one, the less likely one, leads us directly to Cartel Ta and one of their agents that is involved in the Sepulchre of Knowledge. Weirdly enough, this is not the only instance of this word being used in the context of Shadowlands.
I am the Primus. Your presence within my sanctum means a darkness has fallen upon Maldraxxus and all the realms of death. Ages ago, the Eternal Ones punished our brother Zoval for his treachery. He was bound within the inescapable maw to be forevermore its jailer. Now I fear that Zoval did not act alone. I suspect he had ancient allies, and will seek to win others to his cause. that you are hearing this message means my suspicions prove true. Zoval has forged his chains into a weapon and brought about my defeat. There is but one hope to save the Shadowlands. The Eternal Ones must stand together once more before the jailer escapes the maw. Bring my warning to the Archon, the Winter Queen, and the Sire. They must see to our defenses. Do not let Zoval reach the Sepulchre. The Arbiter is the final key. Protect her, or all is lost.
So, yes, there is probably another sepulchre that seems to be key to both jailers and the broker's plans. Though I think that the Candle people have far less nefarious plans related to it. At least I hope so. Still, that doesn't mean that they do not side with the powers of darkness, as in Neclorot's campaign we actually see them delivering a runeblade to Archlich Kel'Thuzad, which means that they are not beyond dealing with the forces threatening the Shadowlands. And it's, weirdly enough, Cartel Ba. The next cartel is Cartel Ow, and they might be one of the most secretive parts of the broker society, but that makes them intriguing. We can overhear a rather interesting gossip between traders Soran and Solek, and I kid you not, this conversation popped up right when I was planning to get footage of another broker.
Think of all of the opportunities these mortals are going to open
Let's
up.
hope their tales of heroism prove true. We could make use of such talents when we...
Quiet! They will overhear us.
They also clearly want to accommodate the mortals, while at the same time they happen to need some quantities of truth potion. It is played for the jokes, but still, are those guys spies? We now get to one of the more prominent cartels, Cartel TA, which is working closely with Cartel Ba, and takes care of services like transmogrification, void bank, barbershop, and pet battles. They seem to be led by Matriarch Tadola, who merely cameos during one of the banter scenes. Other important members include our weekly quest duo of Talan the Antiquary and Finder Tasu. These two provide us with a lot of small lore tidbits related to Shadowlands and brokers themselves. When we bring them items from the weekly dungeon quest, we can learn a lot about the race. Most of us tend to skip reading the description, but in reality, I feel there's a lot of stuff being foreshadowed here. A pretty important member of Cartel TA is someone who I alluded to when mentioning the Sepulchre of Knowledge, Tyran. Again, one of those brokers that appear to be in the right place at the right time. I highly doubt that this is the place both Primus and Basolo meant, but all those books he finds inside can be pretty important knowledge. They appear to be the most open about their business outside of Oribos, as they are seen in all Shadowlands zones other than Ardenwell. They do have Transfer Station TA in Bastion. Curiously, it has Venter and Nightfey NPCs, and they control the Night Market and the Black Market Auction House in Revendreth. Next cartel, Cartel Ba, is probably the most well-known one, due to Venari being kind of important. I don't want to spend too much time on her though, because she deserves her own video, let's be honest, so I'll keep it brief. Basically, they're interested in the Mo, and I mean really interested. And we don't really know who is speaking the truth. Venari, who says she got betrayed and is the only survivor of her group, or the rest that claims that we shouldn't trust her, and it's all her doing. My personal opinion is that there's truth to both stories, from a certain point of view, and that they both are trying to cover something more sinister than just some shady business of other cartels. And speaking of sinister, Cartel TA. We met only 2 members, and both are trying to kill us. Nice! Dealer Zayexa seems to be an interesting exception to Muezala's rule of not letting brokers in the other side. But maybe it just wants somebody making some backhand deals. The other one is pretty notable, as he seems to be the only broker with a completely unique model. Even Venari doesn't appear to have this honor. And his name is Artificer Zymox. After we defeat him in Castle Natria, he runs away, while concluding our business for now. It is important to note that he has a complete set of voice lines recorded for a friendly NPC, so I'm pretty sure we are going to see him in the future.
There is a price for my aid. Do you have business to conduct? What exactly do you require?
For now, we can hardly say anything about Zymox, other than the fact that he is very eager to test his relics collection on us. The last cartel we have to cover is a breeze, since Cartels are PvP vendors, or to give it a lore explanation, they study war and the overall art of conflict. Their generic NPCs seems to be informants. That's all I can say. So now, after this super long introduction, we can finally look at the brokers as a more complete picture. There are some things that clearly seem to be within their area of interest, some of which are mentioned in the weekly quest. We learn, for example, that General Cal was in the possession of a broker headpiece that was unlike any headpiece seen by Talon the Antiquary, seemingly hinting at some lost history. Again, it seems really interesting, considering the brokers do not seem to be aware of archaeology or how it works. Antiquary ponders if there are more groups of the brokers who are purposely hiding from their kin. We find out that they are very interested in the technology of Shadowlands, as we find some ancient tech in almost every realm, which in my opinion enforces the idea that the Eternal Ones did not create those places from nothing. There is a case of the mysterious sepulchre and the fact that they already have an agent in the sepulchre of knowledge. If you ask me, there may be more places like that, or even that the Primus has called the tower to honor the original place. We know that Zoval the Jailer also tries to reach it, as we've been warned about his goals by the cryptic message left over by the missing ruler of Maldraxxus. We also find 2 masks. One seemed to belong to some ancient civilization that used to worship Muezala. The other is hinted to have something to do with the first one's technology. It is an interesting find for the brokers, who are not allowed in by the Father of Sleep himself, but do seem to make some deals with one Sandy. Other than that, they are interested in art of war, and seem to be pleased with our presence in the Shadowlands, seemingly hinting that they want us to feel comfortable enough to lure us into going somewhere for them. Perhaps a dangerous expedition to a place the brokers cannot or don't want to visit. As we've seen with Cartel Ba, they are not indestructible, and clearly not all of their endeavors succeed. But there's one more thing about them that I feel is often overlooked. You see, Stablehand Tachyon is a broker overseeing the Hall of Curiosities in Oribos. And they do pack those beings into dimensional storage cubes, which in their own words are bigger on the inside. Cheeky Doctor Who reference, you might say, as the titular Doctor's vessel, the TARDIS, is disguised as a police box, and it is somewhat of a running gag for the Doctor to reveal to new companions that there is a whole multi-layered spaceship/time machine inside. It's bigger on the inside! But that's not what got me thinking. Surely the brokers have a lot of weird dimensional tech, just as Ethereals, but we can witness some of them use the ability called Tachyon Jump. And while we've already had some abilities with the word Tachyon, I think this case is more interesting. So, what are Tachyons? Theoretical particles that in fiction are often used as the time travel particles. And they would have to send signals faster than light to even exist. They would have to increase their speed as the energy decreases. That would make them paradoxical. To not get too much into pseudoscientific babble, the most interesting aspect of Tachyons is that they would have to actually move backwards in time, from the future to the past. And to me, that clicks all too well with the stuff we've learned about the brokers. They seem to be pretty unbothered by the drought of the jailer. Even though the entire realm of the Shadowlands seems to be in peril, they do not understand archaeology, despite their interest in ancient relics, and they seem pretty surprised to find proof of some other brokers being around. We might even wonder if those masks found in Other Side might be from some proto-broker race. I mean, those headpieces kinda look like masks. I know that time in Shadowlands works differently. We don't know how different yet. But to me, our favorite Cartel people are an extreme example, even for this different and alien world of Shadowlands. I believe that their version of the afterlife can look pretty different to what we know, and their lack of concern for the whole Zoval crisis might be connected to the fact that they already know how it's going to end, or that they simply function outside of the time stream, and that their realm would be unaffected by whatever the jailer and Sylvanas are trying to do. They might be native to the place, but I'm pretty sure that Venari's line,
"I have limitless time. You do not."
it's not just gloating, as denizens of the Shadowlands tend to. We know that in theory, all of the races of the Shadowlands cannot die from natural causes. I think there is more to discover about brokers and their connection to time, and I hope to see it unveils as the time comes by. I know that I've been babbling for long enough, so this is where I want to finish part 1. In part 2, I want to look closer at Venari. Hopefully we'll get some new hints about her at BlizzCon Online, and to briefly discuss possible relationships between brokers and ethereals. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed my first proper video. Give it a like or a comment if you did. Apologize for all the mispronunciations and weird sounds. I don't have a proper studio setup. Special thanks to my friend MasakoX for a guest appearance as Opulence Bahare, and to Nestor Glass for helping with figuring out the broker filter. Well, see you next time. Bye bye!